Hi, I'm Dean Bushmiller with Expanding Security, and this is Vulnerability Data Sources. If this is your first vulnerability or threats video, please watch the free overview video. And if you're not seeing the full version of this, go to expandingsecurity.com so you can get quizzes, badges, and this mind map with all of the dynamic links in it. So let's get started. Vulnerability data sources, I think I've got something more to offer you, something new and enriching than what you've normally seen that's kind of like sitting out there for the rest of us at this point. From a conceptual standpoint, again, if you haven't seen the threats and vulnerabilities overview before this presentation, go to that and look for this diagram right here, and I explain all of those basic details. We're going to dig a little bit deeper than that. We're going to start off with CWE and CVE, weaknesses versus vulnerabilities. Because a lot of times what people will say is, well, there's a vulnerability and we have a weakness, and they keep on trading these terms back and forth, and we got to stop that. So let's talk first CVE, common vulnerabilities and exposures. CVE, this is a vulnerability. This is an instance of a weakness in a vendor product that can be exploited. Last week I was looking, this recording, by the way, is around August 2025. I saw a SharePoint vulnerability that happened. So that's a SharePoint vulnerability. That's a particular product. Well, what was that particular instance of a weakness there? Well, it was a buffer overflow, okay? Now we're looking there and starting to measure things like the impact on us. If we have SharePoint in our organization, how is it going to affect our confidentiality, integrity, or availability? Now, this is a set of conditions or behaviors that allows violations of security policies for our organizations. Those security policies could be explicit or implicit. What you're going to get from that is you're going to get a record or a CVE ID, and that describes the vulnerability that occurred in the product and describes the result of the vulnerability and its attack vectors. Those will be important later on. Now, this does not talk about root causes at this point. We need to kind of flip over and talk about weaknesses for a moment in time. For weaknesses, that's the condition that could contribute to the introduction of the vulnerabilities, and that's where the CWE weakness language kind of kicks in and kind of helps us with what's going on here. Now, when we look at the weakness types, there are going to be specific types of mistakes or conditions that could contribute to the cyber-enabled capability being vulnerable to attack. Our asset is under attack at this moment in time. This allows our adversary to make items function in unintended ways. We wanted them to do this, they wanted them to do that, and they're going to take over at that point. And this happens throughout the entire life cycle. An example of things that are weaknesses, not in a particular piece of software, but general weaknesses that could happen would be things like missing authentication, improper bounds check, or stack-based buffer overflow. And you've seen the presentation on CWE before, or CAPIC before, where I go into great detail about all the different types that are available to you. Now, we want to map the CVE record to a CWE. And that requires information describing the issues that led to the vulnerability. So how did this thing happen? Most people go, hey, I just need to know that there's a problem with my SharePoint server. I need to go to Microsoft and get my patch, and I need to deploy my patch, and that's it. But we should look at the vulnerability information, those data sources, and carry it forward to do a little bit of analysis. The CWE helps do root cause mapping, which will be important when we talk in the business section. Now, our job is to gather the vulnerability data sources and support analysis relevant to this particular mission, your mission, and our particular decision makers. So we have to collect up that information. We have to collect it based on what we do, how we do it, what software that we have inside of our organization. And that's what we're going to do in this. So I hope you'll join me for the entire presentation.